welcome back to my channel today. It is Jenny from Jenny Stitches. Now, if you don't recognise this background, that is because you are at home with me today and we are in my bedroom, which is very personal. But I've been wanting to show you some of the things that I've been making recently, and what better place to do it than at home, where we can try it all on and I can show you properly. I did used to record some of my videos from here before I got the shop. But yeah, I mostly do them in the shop these days, so welcome to my boudoir. So I hope everybody is well. This is basically a bit of a follow-up video to the plans video which I made back in October, I think, for autumnal sewing plans. And I'm pleased to say that I've actually sewn up the majority of the things on the list. I'm actually really pleased with what I've made. I've been quite productive for me, which is nice. So I've got quite a few things to show you, which I'm sure you can see dotted about around me here. And I'll start with the one that I am wearing. Now, this is a Tilly and the Buttons Agnes t-shirt. Now, the Agnes t-shirt is a plain sort of jersey t-shirt. It was one of Tilly's earlier releases and it isn't available on paper anymore. I do have a paper copy from when I used to stock it in the shop, but I've made this pattern, I would say maybe 4 or 5 times now. I find it a really good basic t-shirt, so I'll just put my tea down and I will pop up and show you it. So you can see it here, show you there, and from the back it's a very close fit. So it's very figure hugging, and to be quite honest, when you first put it on, I find it quite, I almost think, oh, this is too small, and then after a minute or two it all settles in. So I have used my Aqua Florals cotton jersey for this one. I didn't put this in the plans video and I wasn't actually intending on making it, but I was cutting some of the fabric in the shop and there was a break in the bolt, which happens quite often, and yeah, it happened to be a 1.5 meter piece that fell out, so I took that as a sign and took it home and washed it and sewed it up. So there you go. So this was actually the most recent item that I finished. I made this just before I set off to the knitting and stitching show at Harrogate last week before last now, gosh, time flies. And I just wanted to say that if I did see you there, thank you so much for coming along and supporting. We had the best time. It was amazing. We've never done a show like that before. We've done a small local one before, but not one on that scale. And it was just an amazing experience and we really, really enjoyed ourselves. And the true highlight was meeting so many of you guys. It's a bit of a strange feeling when you come over and say, oh, I watched the channel, and I'm like, oh really? Because I just feel like I'm talking to myself like I am here. And yeah, so it was so nice to see so many of you and put so many faces to names of regular commenters and regular customers, and to see so many of you that had actually come in items that you'd made from my fabrics was just the icing on the cake. So I'm sure we will be doing it again, and I look forward to seeing more of you in the future. But yeah, lovely. So I made this one just before we went to Harrogate, and yeah, I didn't actually wear it while I was there, but I did have it in my bag just in case I needed an optional extra. So yes, very pleased with this one, although I think I'm going to branch out and try some different t-shirt patterns next. I know I did promise you a bit of a t-shirt run through of like different patterns, and I'm still very much intending on doing that, but I think it'll be in the new year now. Okay, let's get some more tea. I don't have my Jenny Stitches mugs at home, obviously. This is an RHS mug. Okay, pop that back on the window ledge there. So, right, the next thing I will show you is my Megan Nielsen Jarrah sweater. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And here she is. Okay, so I will pop a picture of the pattern cover in here. I've had this on my list to make for a little while now, and I've used my soft sweater knit in the colourway Mauve, which obviously it's purple. That's a bit of me, isn't it? I have such mixed feelings about this make, and if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen me talking about it on there. I don't love it. I don't hate it either, I don't dislike it, but I'm not 100% happy with the outcome. And that is nothing to do with the fabric itself. I think it's more the pairing of the pattern and the fabric. And also I think maybe just because I think this particular style is not particularly me. I like my clothes to be quite fitted, and even if they're a bit loose, I like them to hit in certain places. And I think the mistake that I've made here is essentially this has a dropped shoulder, and I'm not really a fan of drop shoulders, and on me it feels sloppy, would be the best way to put it. So I went for the option, I think it was C, with the tie bottom, which is very cute, but I think it would have benefited really from having a proper band on the bottom to pull it in. I'm not really happy with how that hem just flops. And the neckline is quite wide, so that again doesn't feel, I would prefer that to be more of a crew neck, and that is just personal preference. When I look at the Jarrah on Instagram, I look at other people's makes, it looks fabulous, but I was just a little bit disappointed in it on me. So I will pop it on and I will show you, and I'll see if you know what I mean. But by no means am I unhappy, just not in love. Okay, so here she is. Now, it does look nice on. There's no getting around that. I think it does, and I do like this tie detail, but I'm not sure if I can just show you how that hem, it's supposed to be like this. This is the style of the pattern, so yeah, fine. But the sleeves are far too long and a bit drippy. Overall, it's just a bit big and sloppy for my tastes. That being said, put my head back in the shot. That being said, it's ideal for loungewear at home. It's very comfy for days like today. Today's a Monday and it's my day off, so I tend to opt for comfier things at home. So yeah, I think I got it in my mind it was going to be like quite neat, and I could wear it with trousers and things for work, but it's definitely more of a lounge item, and it's, yeah, it's more Saturday night, glass of wine, watching Strictly than it is going to work. So, you know, you can't win them all, can you? But the fabric is divine. I'm absolutely in love with it, and I'm afraid at the time of filming this there is absolutely none left in stock, not a single colourway. It was popular before, but when we went to Harrogate it got raided. Everybody went mad for it, so I will be getting it back in, that is for sure. I think I had it in 4 or 5 colourways, and yeah, just gone. So and what was really nice while we were at Harrogate was a couple of you came in items that you'd made. There was a lady in a v-neck sweater in the green, and I also saw the green made up into a True Bias Marlowe cardigan, and it looked amazing. So it's not the fabric, it's just the pairing of the fabric and the pattern, if that makes sense. So I won't dwell on that for much longer, and I will show you the next item. Okay, next up is probably my most favourite of all of these makes. And this is New Look 6707. I'm going to pop the picture in here. Now I know when I posted the plans video, a lot of you were quite excited about this blouse, and it was just one of those projects that is a pleasure to make from start to finish. I really enjoyed it. I have used my Borrowdale cotton lawn, and I'm not sure if you can pick up the detail there on the camera, but there's this big collar on it. It's slightly reminiscent of the Bakerloo blouse, but also different. It's got a rounder collar, and then it's got that frill going on around the edge, and the sleeve is more sort of elbow length, that's pleated in at the top. And then for finishing touches, I've just added this Kylie in the Machine label. I think that came from last year's advent calendar, and I've put my, trying to find them for you, my 4-hole matte Italian buttons. Those are the Aubergine colourway, and they just go so well. So yeah, I love it, absolutely love it. I'm gonna pop it on and show you. Okay, here we go. So here she is. As you can see, I'm just wearing jeans today, so this is just loose. Now it is quite short in the body. I think I maybe would have liked an inch or two more just for tucking purposes, just because it does tend to come out a little at the back. But if you were wearing it loose, it's just ideal like that. But it is so cute. Can you see the collar here? And yeah, I've taken some nicer pictures of this on in the shop. But yes, I just love it. It's just so cute, and that's all I have to say about that. And it's probably a good time to show you now that it does indeed go perfectly with the olive pinafore. So I did make the olive pinafore from my plans video. You can see that here. And the two just go together like an absolute dream. So this is the Tilly and the Buttons olive pinafore. I have made it in my 8 Wale corduroy in the wine colourway. My 8 Wale cord is one of my staple fabrics, and particularly at this time of year, it's just the perfect weight of cord. It's not fine like a baby cord, so it's got enough structure to make things like pinafores and skirts and trousers and things like that, but it's not too thick. So it's still a pleasure to work with. But this is the wine colourway, and I have done the facings inside using some of my Poppies cotton poplin, so that just gives it a nice little peak of interest. And again, I've just popped a little Kylie in the Machine Me Made label up on there in the back. And the snaps that I've used are the Prim Anorak snaps in the copper colour. And yeah, can you see the back of those? I'll get that in the shot. But so pleased with how they went on. I did these after work one night. I turned all distractions off in the shop and was super focused because I'd made the pinafore up and I was so pleased with it, and I thought if I mess up those snaps now, I'm going to be so disappointed. So yes, I got them all in correctly and didn't need to pull any out, because I'm not sure you could actually get them out if you wanted to without damaging your work. But yes, they go in. There's 2 pieces to each side. Definitely had to practice. But I've got a terrible habit of, even if I practice, I will still do something wrong, do it upside down the wrong way round. So the mere fact that I got those in one go is a miracle. It was meant to be. So I'm going to pop this on and show you it with this blouse, because the two are just a match made in heaven. Okay, here we go. I hope I've managed to get that all nice and neat, because it takes a bit of lining up with that collar. But yes, as you can see, that's the two together. Excuse my bare legs. Usually I'd have sort of black tights on with this, but I will show you just up close how the collar and the pinafore sit together. It's like they were made for each other. They're just... I absolutely love this combination. It's almost too nice to wear. This sounds absolutely crazy, but I wore this on the first day at Harrogate because it felt like a special occasion. And then this last week I've been like, I don't think I want to wear that because it's not a special occasion enough. And I'm like, just get it worn, get it worn. So yeah, it's going to come out this week. But yes, I just love the two together. Now, in terms of fitting for the pinafore, I did make a toile because I was concerned. Some of the pictures that I had seen of it made up, it didn't look as fitted as I might like, but the size 4 toile I thought came out just fine, so I've just sewn it up as the pattern, and luckily for me I think it fits quite nicely. It's not supposed to be over fitted, so I didn't want to go down that route. You've got the darts in the front if you did want to take more out, but I'm happy with that because I think that gives me the space to put maybe something like a nice roll neck jumper underneath, that kind of thing. I've got more options if I don't overfit it, but the bust darts finish in just the perfect spot. I just couldn't be happier. So this wasn't included on my makes plans, but I did make this sample for the shop window. And I just thought I would include it in this video because I've been wearing it. This is the Tilly and the Buttons Marnie dress. It's the latest release from Tilly, so I thought usually when there's a new Tilly release out I tend to make it up for display as a shop sample. I looked at the cover and I didn't love it for myself. I could see that it would be popular in the sewing community, but it didn't really look like my kind of style. The pattern cover, it's made up in a cotton. It's got a lot of like pin tucks undulating, a lot of frills. There's a lot going on with this pattern. And it just looked a bit loose. I go back to the point about liking things fitted. So I didn't think it was for me, but I thought, hey, I'll just make a sample up anyway, and then when I'm advising customers, I know what I'm about. Now, Tilly doesn't recommend a viscose on the back of the packet. Not to say that you can't, because that's exactly what I've done. This is my Tiny Petals viscose in Khaki. But looking at the pattern cover, I felt that with all that fullness, a viscose would be nice because it would drape and just not be too poofy. Now, some people will like the poofiness. I mean, for example, because I've used cotton here, those sleeves are really holding their shape, but there's just so much going on in this one that I just wanted to give it a softer look. And I actually think it's worked out really, really well. And I know a lot of customers that have seen the sample have said, oh, it looks really different made up like that, and I actually prefer it. And yeah, so I think that's worked out quite nicely. So I opted on this version to leave off the undulating pin tucks because this fabric is so busy. I don't think you'd see them, and I think being a viscose, it wouldn't be crisp enough to really hold the shape of them. So don't get me wrong, I've seen it made up in cotton and I think it looks really cool. And I think for summer in particular, maybe like a nice white, maybe like a Dobby cotton would look gorgeous just as a blouse, but this is a dress version, by the way. So I figured I might get a bit of wear out of this with tights afterwards. So yeah, I made it up and then I tried it on and I was like, crikey, I like that. Just completely surprised, did not expect to like it whatsoever. So I will pop it on and show you, and you can let me know what you think. Well then, let's just try and do up that button. Yeah, got it. My husband is on a work call and I don't want to ask him to go and do my button up while he's supposed to be working, but I think I've got it. Yes, right, here we go. Hope you can see. I've got quite the pile of clothes going on the floor now. So here it is, and you can see it's very, very loose, very breezy. Here's your frills and a sort of up close look at that sleeve. I've just ironed it, but maybe not the best job of ironing. But yes, you can see the volume in the sleeve. It's elasticated at the cuff, which is nice. Yeah, overall, I actually really like it. And for not being a fan of things that aren't fitted, I've been quite surprised by this, but I did actually whip it out of the shop window to go for a meal with friends one night. I wore it on the second day at the knitting and stitching show. So yes, an unexpected win. Not a part of my plans at all, but there you go. Sometimes you get these little curveballs, and I could very much see, just as a blouse, even in the viscose, it would be nice tucked in to some trousers or something like that. It would be lovely. Okay, what's next? Tea is what's next. Next up, I finally finished the dreaded trousers. Here we go. And safe to say, I absolutely love them. They were worth the wait. Now these are the Sew Over It Nina trousers. The Nina pattern is a PDF only. I'll pop a picture in here for you. But yes, a very sort of vintage style, high-waisted, pleated in and then wide leg trouser, which I absolutely love. I think for my body type, my shape, I'm quite hip dominant. I think they work really, really well. So I'll quickly recap. I cut these out last year. They were part of last year's autumn plans. And whilst I was making them, I accidentally sliced a lump off the bottom of the leg and I thought that I'd ruin them. I had a huff with them, they went in a cupboard, and that's that. Flash forward to now and I've gotten over myself and finished them off. I'm very fortunate that there was so much length on the pattern that I was able to just hem them with I just went for a fairly minimal hem. I'll just show you there. So I've just overlocked and then used my blind hemming foot on my machine. We'll see how that lasts. So yeah, instead of taking up over an inch, it's just a small hem, just so I can still wear them with heels, because I think they look best with heels. But yes, that's the front here. I'll show you. We've got some zip fly action, and we've got I've got a little contrasting pocket bag. I just used up some scraps from my sagebrush top. Those are cotton lawn scraps that I felt went well. You can see that there with the belt loops. And yep, on the back are the dreaded welt pockets that at the time I kind of wish I'd never done, but now I do think they add a touch of professionalism, so I'm glad I bothered. There's no getting around it. Welts are tricky. Horrible might be the word I would use to describe them, but I'm glad I've done them. I'm going to pop them on now, and I'll have to put that Agnes t-shirt back on to show you. Yeah, I'll be back in a sec. There we are, if you can see the waist here, and I'm just gonna step back a little bit and see if I can show you on a bit more length there. But yes, super duper happy with those. They hit a nice point on the waist and they just fit perfectly, to be honest. This is I cut a size 14. And that's, yeah, it corresponds to my measurements. I always find Sew Over It true to size. I've never had an issue with their sizing, and I generally find that their size 14 fits me perfectly. They also look nice with a belt. The only thing, oops, the only thing I haven't covered there is that this is my Aubergine pinstripe suiting, which I still very much have in stock. And yeah, it's a really great value suiting, and if like me you're fairly new to trouser making, then yeah, it's great for sort of giving things a whirl. But yes, there you go, just showing off my bottom on people's televisions. That's entirely normal, isn't it? Very pleased with those. Okay, so I just have one more item to show you, and this is typical me. In getting quite nervous for going away to Harrogate, I decided I needed a new dress, because who doesn't just suddenly decide they need to make a new dress when they've got an entire show to prepare for? So I got quite a lot of new fabric in, especially for going away, and this was one of the prints. And when I got my deliveries, I got huge amounts of deliveries all in 1 week. It was quite exciting but overwhelming. And I was putting them all away and photographing them and things, and this, I just thought I have to have some of this jersey, because if you've followed me for a while you will know how much I love a rose print, and this is just beautiful. So this is the English Roses cotton jersey, and this is the burgundy colourway. I also have this in navy, and it was a close call on whether I took the burgundy or the navy, but recently I've just been obsessed with burgundy. I think this year I have been more seasonally affected with colours than I've ever known before. In the spring I was just, everything had to be green, and now we're going into autumn. Well, we're in the thick of autumn. I'm really into my burgundies, so yeah, this just had to happen. So I chopped some off, washed it very quickly, and made a dress. So this is the Sew Over It Nomi dress. I'm trying not to get mixed up because the trousers were Nina and the dress is Nomi. I maybe would have liked a bit longer to choose a pattern for this fabric, but because I was in a rush, I kind of had to just go and choose something that I knew I could kind of rely on. And as I've just mentioned about Sew Over It patterns, I know that they fit me well. I know that they're reliable in terms of their instructions and the grading and things. So yeah, I just grabbed the Nomi PDF and printed it. Obviously having an A0 printer to hand is quite a perk of the job. Yeah, and I'd made this on the Sunday before we went, and it didn't take all day. It took, you know, a good part of the day, including cutting out, but I'm not a fast sewer by any means. And I particularly enjoyed the construction of the neck on this one. If you can see there, instead of an outside neck binding like we have on this one, you actually made a binding strip and bound it properly with 2 layers of stitching. And I should probably point out here, I used the Gutterman Mariflex thread to make this dress. Oh my goodness, if you have not tried it, you need to. It is such a game changer because it just allows, if I was sewing this with an ordinary thread, I wouldn't be able to use a straight stitch to stitch that down because when I'm pulling it over my head, the stitches will pop. But because the Mariflex thread is stretchy, you can do that, and it just makes life so much easier. You can see it with the hems on the cuffs and on the bottom. I was just able to whip around it on my ordinary machine with an ordinary stitch. Yeah, it's almost like you just wouldn't know you were sewing with knits at all, so that's fantastic. So it's basically just a long sleeve t-shirt with a gathered skirt. It's gathered onto elastic, and then there's an optional tier on the bottom which I did put on, so I will just pop this on to show you. Okay, here she is. So, your little twirl. Absolutely love this. It's just everything that is a bit of me. It's got roses, it's cinched in at the waist, it's made from jersey, it's super, super comfortable. You're probably not going to see it very well on here, but the length is, I think they maybe describe it as mid-axi. It's a bit longer than a midi dress, but not full maxi length. It's just so elegant. Yeah, I just absolutely adore it. So very, very happy with that. The only little gripe I have with it is I do feel that the top is slightly bigger than I would like, but I think I really am splitting hairs there. I think it would actually benefit from a narrow shoulder adjustment, which is quite common for me, so I'm not gonna really quibble about that. But yes, an absolute wardrobe winner. This is just something that I have been reaching for because it's just comfy. Just throw it on, black tights, boots, away we go. Okay, so that's everything. I think any more and you'd be thinking that I haven't actually done any work in the last month or two, but I hope you enjoyed looking at those. I will put links to all of the patterns and all of the fabrics that I've used down below in the comments where possible. But yeah, I am so pleased with those makes. It really feels like they all work together very well, almost in a kind of capsule wardrobe kind of format. And I've found that probably in recent months, in the last year maybe, that I've been much more mindful of what I'm making in that sense. So I think in the early days of sewing, I was just completely distracted by prints, as we all are, and I still am. And I would just be driven by, oh, I love that fabric and I'm going to go and make something with it, without much regard to what else it went with in my wardrobe. But now that I've been sewing for over 10 years now, and now, particularly since having the shop, the vast majority of my wardrobe is now becoming handmade, maybe with the exception of a few sort of t-shirts or jeans in particular. I haven't made jeans before, I will admit. So I'm getting more that now if I'm looking at fabrics, I'm thinking, that will work with my pinafore, or that will work with my bobby skirt, or it will work with these trousers, or that will be good with jeans, or that will be a great cardigan to layer over XYZ, if you see what I mean. So yeah, that's just like a skill that's kind of developed over time with experience, and I'm really pleased with how that's working out now, because I'm being much more mindful about what I'm sewing and how it's going to work with my daily life, and yeah, and that makes so much more successful. I don't know about you, if you've ever made something where you just really like the print or the pattern or whatever, and then once it's made up, you don't really wear it because you can't find, you know, the right pair of pants to put with it or anything. So yeah, I'm really pleased with that little selection. I think they all work really, really well together. There's a lot of sort of mix and matchability involved. So I will hopefully be back soon. I've got a lot of new fabric to show you. I can't believe that it is going to be December this week. It's just come out of nowhere. So I do have some Christmas sewing planned. I need to make a couple of garments for shop samples, and my daughter, who is 6, has requested a Christmas party dress, so I have to sort that out. If I can't sort that out, I will be in big trouble. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know which is your favourite. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments below. I'm going to say a huge thank you again for those of you who came along to Harrogate and said hello. I massively appreciate it. If you did enjoy this and you do enjoy my content, please do like and subscribe. It is so helpful. And yes, the only other thing I am going to say is check out the new arrivals section, because there is so much new stuff in stock now. Yeah, it's making me really happy every time I look around the shop. It just looks amazing. So from me and my bedroom, which I now need to tidy up, have a wonderful week and I will see you soon. Take care and happy sewing.